Hello and welcome to Is It Pure Strike Suit Zero. Now this is one of the games I have really been looking forward to, especially since I've seen it crop up on Kickstarter in October of last year. So initially they asked for $100,000, but they managed to raise $174,804. So they did quite well. But I guess the question is it pure? Is it any good? Is this the game that I kind of wanted it to be? Like, oh god, I just needed it in my life. Okay, so what exactly is Strike Suit Zero? Well, Strike Suit Zero is a story-driven single-player game where the player assumes the role of a fighter pilot in various different ships, and you obviously advance to the Strike Suit, which is the crazy fighter, mecha, convertible ship of massive win, good lord. And you're in a massive war against the combined forces of the space colonies. Now, humankind spread through the stars and started founding colonies everywhere. The colonies did not want to be ruled by Earth, so they said, you know what, we don't want to be ruled by you anymore. And in a roundabout way, that I don't really want to spoil all the story, but that's kind of what happened. So Earth is fighting the colonies, and it's a massive war on an absolutely epic intergalactic scale that you cannot possibly imagine, good lord. But the way the game's designed is the battles they don't necessarily revolve around you. You're not like this super powerful ship who just goes around and destroys everything. You take part in a larger fleet action, so you really get a sense of you're actually in a massive fight, and you'll get given specific objectives. So it'll say destroy certain turrets on a ship, stop incoming missiles hitting one of your capital ships, things like that, or protect these frigates as they move around. You kind of get given those sort of objectives throughout almost all of the missions. So I guess we jump straight in. This is further on in the game when you actually pick up the Strike Suit. Now this is, what the game's named after. It's Strike Suit Zero. I was a little bit disappointed when I first started playing the game, when I realised that you don't actually get the Strike Suit straight away. You have to do a few missions in inferior fighter craft, which are not that good. They're okay. They kind of, you get your bearings in place, you sort of know what you're doing, and it's like, oh, that's fine. But as soon as you get given the Strike Suit, the game becomes massively more difficult, because the Strike Suit can do loads of different stuff, and the difficulty really ramps up. It's like all of a sudden, okay, you've got the Strike Suit, so you've got massive firepower now. You really need to play up to that massive firepower, and loads of stuff starts happening. I mean, as far as the visuals go, it's very striking. It's not top end. I mean, if you really look closely at the textures and the effects and such, they are simple, but the way they've been done is very, very good. So all these crazy light effects going off all over the place, it looks crazy. It's really, really busy on the screen, which is one of the main things, because if not a lot is going on the screen, it kind of can look a bit bland, but there's always loads of stuff going on, like all over the place. It looks absolutely crazy, especially when you're firing off rockets, because you get loads of different types of weapons and such, but I'll go into that in a minute. But you get one of the rocket systems, it's called the Swarm rocket. They just fire rockets everywhere, like 20, 30 rockets get dispatched from your ship, and it just looks crazy. They're all intertwined and swirling off towards the targets, and it just looks totally, totally crazy. In a good way. A very, very good way. Okay, let's talk about the control system. So, I am using keyboard and mouse. Now, it works perfectly with keyboard and mouse. You can also use a controller, which would work pretty damn well, I feel. And you can also use a joystick as well, which would also work fantastic. But, for the sake of this, I am actually using keyboard and mouse. Now, let me try and explain the HUD and what's going on. So, in the top left of the screen, you get your orders. So as you can see, I need to protect the fleet, protect the Arcadia, protect the freighters, destroy heavy fighters. Yep. Now the operational parameters is the Arcadia's health. Now when that white bar goes down, the Arcadia explodes and the mission is a failure. So to prevent the Arcadia from dying, you have to complete your objectives pretty fast, and you have to intercept things like torpedoes and stuff, which would be flying towards the Arcadia, which is a big capital carrier ship. You don't want that to die. It's like your command vessel. Then if you move on into the middle, you've got the armour, which is obviously the armour of the Strike Suit. Now when that reaches 0, you explode and you die. You've got shield. Now shield is your shields. This regenerates over time. And then we've got Flux. Now this is special and unique to the Strike Suit. When the Strike Suit goes into strike mode, it requires Flux to do this. Now Flux Energy, it's almost like warp energy from Star Trek. The suit can channel this type of energy. It's the only vessel that can do it, and it's super powerful and all this crap. But when you press spacebar, depending on if you have enough flux, you'll turn into the actual strike mode, which is like the mech combat mode of the suit. So it turns into like a robot, a space robot, good lord. Now it's got massive firepower. It loses its speed. It gains a bit of maneuverability, but it's got massive firepower. Now you gain flux passively anyway as time goes on. You also gain flux from destroying enemy ships and destroying parts of destroyed capital ships. So if you blow up a frigate, you can actually destroy the debris that's left behind, and that will give you more flux, which then allows you to turn back into the strike suit mode, which, as I say, is massively powerful as far as the weapons are concerned. Now, moving on to the right from that, you can see where it says Q500 EP, and it's got the infinite symbol. That is my plasma cannon weapon. Now, this is very good at destroying armor, but it's no good at destroying shields. It still destroys shields, but it's not the best. You can actually swap out your primary weapon by pressing V. Now, these are all... You can obviously rebind all your keys to whatever, but as far as the standard key bindings go, if you press V, you will cycle through your cannons, your weapons, so your machine guns, your laser weapons, and stuff like that. Using right mouse button, you can fire rockets off. Now, you can swap through your rockets again by pressing BBB. So you'll keep flipping through your different rockets. You get things like rocket pods, which just fire off. They don't need any guidance. So you can use them in places like nebulas, like where we are at the moment. You get lock-on rockets, which lock on and fire off and do certain types of damage. There is loads and loads of weapons, but I will show you the actual loadout weapon screen after this little explanation for the HUD. And then on the right hand side we've got the thruster. Now the thrusters are obviously what they say. They're thrusters, you hold down shift and you go forward really quick. Now you can't really use these when you're in the strike suit mode, but when you're in the fighter mode you can do it really fast, so you can really get away from fights really quick. You would have seen me doing this throughout the clip where I'm really accelerating off really fast. When you have missile lock, so enemy missile lock, if you're in the spaceship mode, you need to press control. This will do an EMP discharge, but you need to time it just right. So when you actually do it, when the missile is just about to hit you, you'll hear the bleep. It'll go. That's when you need to do it. And then as soon as you do it, the missile will lose target. If you're actually in strike mode, you need to double tap A or D or any other direction, and you will actually sidestep and dodge the rocket as it comes in. Really funky. So I think that kind of explains the HUD and what's actually going on. Oh no, actually, if you press F, you will target your nearest target. If you press R, you'll target things in front of you. And when you're in strike mode, if you hold control down, or it might be Alt Shift, see, even I'm getting confused now, you will automatically track onto your, because you can turn around really quick in the strike mode, onto your next target. It's really frantic, really frantic, but great, but absolutely crazy. Okay, so let's talk about stats, mission debriefing, weapon loadout, ship selection, and all that good stuff. So I've just completed the mission, and you can see it's given me all the different stats for the different types of vessels I've destroyed, the points I've got, the assists, the time bonus, the subtotal scores, and it all adds together and gives me a different mission rating. So you can see I'm at gold at the moment, and now I'm at platinum. And I think platinum is the highest service medal award you can get, but you can obviously get way more points. So you can see I've got like 12,500 and, or is that 126,000 even? 636 points at the moment, and it's keep going up. And you can see I've unlocked a ship. Now, one of the issues I've got is kind of like replayability with this game. I think it's going to be kind of low, but you can see they're sort of trying to add that in with giving you stats and sort of a high score. So you can go back and replay the missions to try and unlock different stuff by completing special objectives or just getting higher scores, destroying more ships. So this is the mission debriefing. So, you know, the Mercury's left on a recon mission for control and all the rest of that stuff. So this is kind of like a bit of the story element. Then it gives you a bit of an update on Earth's situation because the colonists are attacking Earth, and that's obviously quite bad. Well, they're moving to attack Earth. So this is the mission selection screen. Now, you can see mission 4. I've not yet gone on the mission, and I've got no medal awarded, obviously. So previous missions, I'll have medals awarded. Now, like I said, if I've got a bronze medal for, let's say, mission 1, I could go back, redo it, and get a platinum medal. And I think that's where the replayability, it's kind of a bit weak, though, in that respect, is sort of coming from. So, this is giving me the mission rundown, but it also gives me the energy upgrade 1, which is locked, but I can unlock that if I save all the allied freighters. Will unlock this upgrade. So that's kind of like it's like the bonus objective. Now this is the ship selection. So I've got the strike suit, and there are other ships available. And now I'm guessing these are specialised in certain roles, but why you would select them, I don't know. Unless they are variants of the actual strike suit, I'm not sure. Because the strike suit is like wildly more powerful than any of the other previous fighter craft I've been flying around in. So these are all the different stats. So the flight, the armour, the shield, and the energy for the ship. And obviously this is for the strike suit. And You can read information about it, so it kind of gives you a little bit of a brief rundown. But I've gone over this about Flux and all that stuff. So these performance upgrades, shield upgrades, armor upgrades, energy upgrades, and strike mode upgrades are from completing special objectives in missions. Now this is the weapon loadout. I don't have that many weapons to actually select from at the moment, but you can see it does show you a nice little video representation of what the weapon actually looks like. So that's the machine gun. Now these are the rockets, so that's the swarm type of rocket. We've got a different type of rocket which fires slower but does more damage. This is nice, I quite like this. It really shows what the weapons kind of look like before you actually get into the game. But that pretty much sums up the ship selection, the weapon selection, the mission debriefing, and kind of the high score system. Now, as you continue to go through the game, you will get given decisions that you need to make. So these decisions will directly affect how the game ends. It will affect the state of Earth at the end of the game. So this does add another little bit of replayability back to the game, along with the high score system. And that, so it has a little bit of replayability, but as I said before, that's kind of my major gripe with the game. Once you've played through it, I don't really see why you would do it again. However, you may have been thinking to yourself, good lord, the music is quite good in this game. Well, yes, the music is quite good, because the music is from Paul Ruskay, who is the Homeworld director. And Homeworld had absolutely awesome music, and it also includes a collaboration with a Japanese singer-songwriter, Kokia, or Kokia. I'm butchering the name, I apologise. So you might hear a crazy... that's what you can hear in the background going on. The music is awesome. The ships as well have been designed by a renowned mechanical design engineer, Junji Okubu. Now, I'm not up with my Japanese anime mecha stuff, so I'll be honest, I don't really know who he is, but he's made things like Steel Battalion, and he's apparently quite renowned, so that's probably why the ships look amazing and the strike suit looks pretty damn good. So what do I think? Is the game pure? Well, yeah, obviously the game is pure. But what you have to remember is you're not really getting a massive game. You're not getting a game which is going to consume you for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on end. But you are getting a game that is very good at what it does. It doesn't have that much content because you are essentially doing the same thing almost every mission. But the way it presents this content and the simple stuff of defending ships, of throwing you straight into a massive war, of destroying turrets off a capital ship, of intercepting torpedoes, it's absolute. It just does it so damn well. That's why it deserves your money. You need to go and buy this game, guys. If for some reason you do not like space, action, combat simulator games, then this is definitely not the game for you, because that's all this game does. But it does it so damn well. This game is absolutely 100% pure. I love this game. You know, and I'm actually I want to get back and play the game. I literally had to pull myself away to make the Is It Pure, which was kind of crazy. I should have just sat there and played the game. So there you go, guys. This has been Is It Pure Strike Suit Zero, and the answer to the question, is it pure? Yes, it is most definitely pure. I'll put links in the description where you can actually pick the game up from, and as I say, I highly recommend you pick the game up because it is such a fantastic little title. I've been Stylosa, guys. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, which is @UnitLostGaming. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you next time. Toodaloo.